Hey, gals and guys, this is Christopher Mosier from MyMediaHelper.com. And to make a long story short, in September, I broke my ankle. I was supposed to start a new job. I was supposed to go do a new apartment. I had to cancel both of those because I couldn't get around. I had 2 weeks in the hospital that I spent, 2 surgeries, 8 weeks in bed. And I just started looking for a job 2 weeks before Christmas, just started driving 2 weeks before Christmas. So this particular video is a rant, and it's a rant towards employers. It's my rant from me. Well, of course, it's my rant. It would be from me, huh? To employers on things that I see and things we're not going to do for you, because our time is just as precious as yours. So let the rant begin. Let's begin this ranting session with a pet peeve of mine. I covered up the employer here, obviously, with my awesome self. So these questions that I go through, this is Indeed.com, and I'm going through this morning, and I am looking for some help, some information technology help desks, preferably remote jobs. Now, a pet peeve of mine is some of these questions here. So questions from employers. Identification, self-identification. I don't mind this gender, male, female. I choose not to self-identify. Fine. Ethnicity, fine. I don't care. Now we get to the next page here. Your ethnic race, they ask you twice. I don't know why they ask you twice, but fine. I'm white. What are your pronouns? I don't know. I guess I really don't have a problem with that. What does it matter if I'm a he or a she? I know that probably the government takes information from you and has all these lovely statistics that they need to put together, but I'm not going to tell you. Display pronouns. Why do you need to know them? No real reason if I'm female or I'm male or what I identify as. It doesn't matter. I'm a human being, right? What is your sexual orientation? Why is this the fuck anybody's business, be it an employer or the government or either or? So I say prefer not to say. This is stupid. Asexual, bisexual, gay, lesbian, heterosexual, straight, pansexual, queer, sexual orientation not listed here. Why do you need to know this? What is my sexual orientation? What is what I do in bed have anything to fucking do with getting a job? So major pet peeve. Do you identify by your legal gender? Again, not particularly your business. As long as I'm a human being, I'm not hurting anybody. What I'm doing outside of work is none of your fucking business. So major pet peeve to start off this awesome rant. So I'm going to continue applying to this job, and then we'll continue. Moving right along with my next pet peeve. Here we go. Instagram content manager and designer. Sounds like a great job. Unpaid. If you're not being paid for something, it's not a job. I consider it a hobby. So this guy wants you to join his hobby. Why is this in the job section? I have no idea. The amount of people that want free work is mind-blowing, especially on LinkedIn. No, buddy. Go to Fiverr, hire someone to do this for low, or some third world country. They'll do it for a low price. But yeah, no one's going to jump on your unpaid opportunity. Oy vey. No, I don't have a degree. I'm still not a moron. There's idiots that have degrees. There's idiots that have gone to college and have associates, at least associates, and are idiots. So what does having a degree have to do with anything? It does not. So you can have a degree and be a complete moron, or you cannot have a degree and be intelligent, but you have to have a degree to get a job. So what they're telling you is they'd rather have a moron with a degree than someone with a head on their shoulders. A head on their shoulders. Makes totally no sense. So here's my take on a college education, a paid college education, and college institutes and universities. They're con jobs. Unless you're going to be like a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, they're absolutely necessary. If you're going to get into the computer field, management, things like that, that's more of a learning experience, especially now these days. There's so many outlets to learn on your own. You don't need to go to a structured class. You don't need to pay an absurd amount of money in order to learn this stuff. Trades are awesome because trades like pipe fitters, electricians, those type of trades and trade schools are awesome because you're actually going there and you're actually learning a skill. College educations where, I don't know, you're going for computer programming and you've got to take a fucking elective health class or something stupid like that just to pay the system more money. It's bullcrap. And I've worked with people with college degrees. I've worked the same jobs with people with college degrees who have college loans and aren't even remotely doing what they went to college for. So case in point, I was filling out another job position to apply for, and it's asking how many years of smart sheets have you had experience with? I haven't had zero experience with smart sheets. I just signed up for smart sheets. I just learned how to use smart sheets. It took me about 10 minutes. All it is like a collaborative online software that it's basically Office, Microsoft Office collaboratively, which you can do with Office anyways. You can make sheets and everything to that effect. So why does it matter how many years of experience I've had? I just learned it in 10 minutes. So here's a SharePoint job for John Hopkins. So I'm not doing this. I'm not taking my time. You have my resume. This is a legitimate question for leave. You have my resume, you have my information. I'm not going and re-putting in that information, putting in my title and stuff like that. I'm just not wasting the time to do that. And then you turn around and send me an email saying, no, we're not interested. Because I've got 100 other jobs I can apply for that will take my resume and look at it. Or take the resume and have some AI look at it, whatever the case may be. But no, I'm closing this. I refuse. A note to employers. I have some rants I wanted to make, and I actually wrote this a while ago. There are just certain things I thought of while looking for a new job I wanted to sound off on. I think a lot of potential employers are ignorant and lazy, and this rant explains what I feel about most of them. With everything I write, there is always an amount of levity and sarcasm and dark comedy. This isn't an angry rant. This is a direct-to-the-point rant. You can take it any way you want. That's not my problem. Perhaps there are some sour grapes in my words. Perhaps they were written out of a level of frustration. I also believe there's a lot of truth in what I've written that a lot of people would love to say about business and employers, but can't for fear of their jobs or future jobs. I just don't give a fuck. There's no business that exists that is going to hold my opinions for ransom from the fear of never being hired by their dumbasses if they happen to come upon this video. I've been looking for a job lately. I broke my ankle in September of 2022. I was in bed for almost 3 months to heal. In that happening, I had to bow out of a job I was going to start. Now I'm back to walking and driving and looking for work. In this job quest, certain things annoyed me. I wanted to point them out to potential employers if they just happen to stumble on this video. Perhaps this will be a different perspective for them if they're open to one. With that said, let the rant begin. I'm not going to your website and filling in all my employment and or education history. You have my resume. All that information is on there. Perhaps you have a formatted program and database where you can do queries on your applicants. But sorry, if your website can't draw the information from my resume correctly or you can't hire someone to input it on your end, then forget it. I have 200 other positions I need to apply for, and I'm not going to spend 30 to 45 minutes filling in everything I already have on my resume, so it easily transfers to your system just to get an email a day later indicating we regret to inform you that we will not be proceeding with your application to this role. Fuck yourself. Hey, your employees. If I'm applying for a technical desktop position and you're a company ranking in over $1 billion each year and you only want to pay me $19 to $21 an hour, then go fuck yourself. I'm talking to you, Sutherland. You're just one example. A very good example, may I add. I don't need your low-paying, shitty job when your CEO makes $236,839 a year, plus bonuses and perks. I looked it up. Pay people a living wage for their talents. And that goes for you other asshole companies that make billions of dollars a year and want to pay the bare minimum. Hey, fuck you. Stop lying to people who have spent time applying to a position in your company and don't even have the class, respect, or care to respond in kind. Not even a generic email. You can't even send a heartless generic email telling people that they're not being considered for the position.
Most people I interview with, I don't even hear from again. That's just common courtesy to get back with everyone, to let them know where they stand. How many times have I heard, "Oh, we'll get back to you either way," and never hear from them again? Stop fucking lying to people. Fuck your automated resume checker. What companies do is check your resume and websites for keywords that fit their job. It doesn't matter if the person qualifies for the job or not. The algorithm is just looking for those keywords. You can lie your ass off on the resume in your interview, give bullshit references, and get a good job. That's why there are so many assholes in management. They're too fucking stupid to do anything else, and it's easy to bullshit yourself into a job. If you had a real skill, like say a computer help desk position, then companies only want to pay you $19 to $21 an hour. Right, Sutherland? If you're fucking half brain dead and can lie on your resume, then you could get yourself a living wage. Hey, you can be in fucking management. You may then ask, "Hey, Chris, why don't you lie your ass off and be a scumbag like those people and get that kind of job?" I do this really weird thing called sleep at night, and I like to do it. I also have this weird thing called a conscience that makes me treat people correctly. It's kind of a combination of things, really. I can't be in management because, believe it or not, I'm a good person and I would be fired within a week because I don't drink the employer's Kool-Aid. Potential employers, we know who you are by the way you treat your workers. This is a new century where an easy search will tell us who you are. You not paying your employees a living wage is the first indication you treat people like cattle and not people. Sullivan, and companies like it, and people who run them should absolutely be ashamed and embarrassed with themselves. They won't be. I mean, why should they? They make a lot of money to support their family. Why should they care that the people below them that do more of the work than they do can't support their families? Who gives a shit? I've said this for a long time, and it's even more apparent these days. There were two men named Henry Ford and Eastman Kodak. What they did with their success and their company's success was to give back to workers that helped those companies be successful. They didn't pocket the money with disregard for their employees. They shared the success in form of pensions and bonuses. I don't even know if youth today have ever heard of a pension or even know what they are. It's very rare a company will give one. Same with bonuses or any success the company will experience for a given year. Oh, sure, the CEOs and the uppity-ups will get their fucking bonus. Not the peons, not the people that do all the work. Fuck you. And as a side note, when filling out my application, what is it your business what I identify as, or especially my sexuality? They do offer a place where you can check to not specify. Why is the question on there anyway? I understand the government wants to keep statistical data on whom applies for what. I'm sure that information is used for a variety of things. I don't mind the race you identify as or if I have a disability or not, but this seems like extreme overkill. Why do you need to know what I'm doing in my bed? Maybe it's my age and I lived and seen a lot. Maybe there's just too much space between us lowly employees and the people who run the companies. There's definitely a disconnect, and the bigger the company, the greater the disconnect. Then throw in some people who are just shitty people, narcissists, opportunity seekers, and just don't care about anyone else. They'll step on anyone, including their grandmother, to be where they want to be. That's how people get to be where they want to be with no empathy or recourse as to how they got there. That's why we have murderers in this world. They just don't give a shit for other life. That's an extreme analogy towards people in power, yet somehow fitting. Of course, I'm not talking about every company. I'm especially not talking about smaller startup companies or companies with a few employees. A lot of the vibe and what they tell you when you go interview with them is what kind of a family they are, and that makes sense. If you're a small company and you run a small company, you're closer to your employees, and most likely you see them on a day-to-day basis. You talk to them and know what's going on in their lives. You connect with them. I'm mostly talking about large companies and corporations. They're just cold entities. As I mentioned, the top have a total disconnect with their employees and either don't think about them, understand them, or just don't simply give a shit. Your loss, that's exactly what I think when I get a rejection email. That's the extent of the time I think about it. I know these companies get dozens and hundreds and maybe even thousands of resumes. It would be impossible to find or know the real person behind everyone, but that's not my or our problem. That's your problem, Mr. and Mrs. Business and Corporation. If I didn't put in the proper correct keywords so your stupid automated software doesn't pick me up, or maybe a human being did look at the resume and is just doing a horrible job that day, that's on you, not me, so your loss. Our time is just as precious as yours. If you think I'm going to do some special cover letter or answer 20 specific questions, then forget it. You should have 5 questions specific to your position at the most. I'm not spending an hour applying for your job position just to get an email stating, unfortunately, we're deciding to go with someone else whose experience more aligns with what we're looking for. No, it's not that we don't want to work for you. It's not that we're not excited or don't want to spend the time to tell you everything that is wonderful about us. Our time is just as important as yours, so I won't waste yours, and you stop wasting mine.
All right, gals and guys, and I'll end it right there. It's just some observations that I found when I was going through my employment journey, searching for employment. I mean, some things haven't changed over the decades and the centuries as far as corporations and companies, and a lot of things have. As I mentioned, George Eastman and Henry Ford, two very successful people with successful businesses that they built, mind you, and gave back to their employees. And sometimes I don't think employers consider a lot of things. I don't think a lot of people consider a lot of things, but I don't know. I just think employers want you to spend all this time applying for the job, answering these questions, and so on. And then on the flip side, potential employees think they're just going to get a job off the bat. So this is really just my observations. Take them as you will. That's what I do. I make videos about observations. I write essays, and that's what I do. And then I post them on YouTube. I do that. I do stuff like that. All right, gals and guys, if you're employed or not employed, please subscribe to the channel. Please like this video if you like it. Please share if you care to, and then certainly hit the bell for updates. And I will go make some other videos because it's what I do. What else do I have to do? I got to go to work. All right. Why do you need to know this? What is my sexual orientation? What I do in bed have anything to fucking do with getting a job? So major pet peeve. Do you identify by your legal gender? Again, not particularly